and welcome back here to the final game of groups here on the A stream. At least there is obviously one happening on the Bravo stream as well. I'm Fluke, that's up.
Hasn't changed, never will change, and with that, it is going to be a lot on the line. Now, we have a bunch of graphics prepared by our analysts, but
so many.
We won't get into that as of just yet, because we first will introduce these teams. Again, for one last time, possibly, maybe, possibly. Well,
one of them we know that they're not going to be able to progress. That is Fury. The other, if you remember a conundrum from the previous game, it's kind of similar here. NA is on the back foot this time, though. SSG, they are looking to see if they can try and not only take a win, but the better they do, the more likely they are to succeed based on round difference.
Yeah, so we have a nice little graphic prepared by Sprabuni and Raf. Cue the jingle.
Sprabuni and Wrath.
We do that during you every time. To completely explain to you what's going on, because it might be confusing what exactly is happening. So they have made the tiebreaker match possibilities, schedule, like when does BDS go through, when does Space Station go through, and maybe we have a tiebreaker coming in. So basically, if Space Station goes to overtime, or Fury win, BDS will always win.
Yes.
If BDS gets a point, they will also go through.
Yes.
The rest is all going to be scoreline. So, if BDS lose with 3-7, which is not out of the question, and Space Station Gaming win with exactly a 7-5.
Very specific two results.
Very specific two results.
A tiebreaker match.
Yeah, between Space Station and BDS.
The worst thing production can hear. The
yeah, they were already,
can
you please not? I'm like, it's not up to us. It's not up to us.
It's up to not only this game, but that other game, yeah. If you can see, if you want this in the easiest manner possible, on this stream, BDS, they got to win. They get 1 point. They're golden. They're locked. They're there. They've made it. SSG, they also need a full fat win. But they also need BDS to fail. Not just fail a little bit spectacularly. They want Fury here to try and get as many rounds as possible, and that might be the tougher ask. It's not just playing for what you have in front of you, it's also hoping that on the other game, on the other stream, the team that you want to succeed does.
It becomes a game of round differential at that moment in time. As thumbs up are being given. They are getting ready. Of course, Fury also aware of the fact that they haven't had the greatest debut yet to the Major. They kind of maybe expected it as well. Like, I don't think they came into it as like, we are going to be winning this right away. But, you know, you want to do your best. You want to give it your all. And they'll do that on Bang for one last time on their defense to start things off. The map where either BDS or Space Station Gaming will be qualified.
Okay, Bang, in terms of a performance from this Major, we haven't really seen it much. It's not been the most common map to come into things. It's still sort of getting its feet, I think, in international play. As weird as it is to say, Bang is a map that's still sort of growing with the meta. It's still revolutionizing itself. It's looking for new pots and plays and particulars. It can reward some teams, but a lot of Bang comes down to specific control. There's huge open areas, a lot of places to hide intel, and that's nothing you really want to spend a lot of your time hunting it down. Unfortunately for them, that's what their time will be filled with.
It will be. And Space Station starting off on the attack. Know what they need to do. You see some of the stuff coming down on the ticker. Sonic's qualified for the 6 Major. Super is proud. Understandably so.
It would be strange if he wasn't.
It would be strange if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But Space Station Gaming is going to be the other NA team trying to find themselves qualified. We already have Sonics, we already have TSM. So we're just trying to find out now if there's going to be a third team from North America to take that spot.
Only one EU team has got themselves locked in. We now know that all the others have generally... No, that's incorrect. Am I losing it? I'm not losing it.
Written down, don't worry.
I am partially... No, I am correct. Wolves, BDS, they haven't locked it in yet. They just need the round. We literally just cast Heroic, not quite making it. And M&M obviously lost a little bit earlier. It's been a very long 3 days. Latin America, they've taken pretty much every single first seed.
Except for one.
Except for one.
which was Wolves, that managed to take it. That is Group D, of course.
So the one EU team that has made it well.
Yeah, which means they'll be, most likely will be facing off. Actually, will be facing off against a non-LATAM team. So, which is either going to be... Is that correct? Yes. Could potentially be Spacestation, could potentially be BDS, or TSM, or Black Dragon, something like that. Either way. Let's get it going. Let's get underway. I hear the sound of the map that has loaded in. I hear Bank, and a social vote is very decisive. Spacestation Gaming with 84% against the only 16 of Fury. It's not looking bright for them. They'll do their best. They'll see what they can do. Maybe they take in some extra points back home and that bit of experience. First the bands. As mentioned before, Fury on that defense to lead in. The Yingo.
Taken out. Removed. Sorry, we have a... We're just making sure our communications to the other stream are up and running. We keep each other in the know. Because obviously, as we did previously...
That just turned into a word that I wasn't even...
I just invented a word.
Yeah.
Not a good one. Previously, we had the same thing, but it was the other way around. The other stream was the one where a team just needed 6 rounds to get themselves locked. Here, that is now our thing. Our one is easy. Theirs requires a lot of mental maths, which isn't Parker's strong suit.
He needs a bit of help. He needs some help. Cannot count past 3. You don't know that, but that's actually true.
I just got a message. I tell score from Easy.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Easy.
He observes, he tells the score. That's the
he does what he needs to do. All right, SSG, what can you bring us? For the run of SSG, it's been, unfortunately, hit and miss. The first day was missed, but a very close one against BDS, 5-7. Well, there's probably going to be a game that might haunt them, depending on how this goes. Then their second day was outstanding, a 7-1 and a 7-4. They got their revenge on BDS, W7M. They made sure that, well, they planted that Latin American flag. And here, Fury, previously SSG won 7-1.
Setting themselves up, the top floor is going to receive some love from Fury. See some barricades coming in towards the kitchen and the open area as well. Want to make sure that they make the life of Space Station as hard as it can possibly be by wasting a lot of time, of course, on their roam clear. And that is key to when you need to turtle in on that basement. If you instantly go down to the basement, Emmy, there's going to be like, you know, 30 seconds you need to get Bank droned out. If you have them all droned in the right position, but Rampy already finds Hajime. I'm not quite sure if that's a jump out attempt. Definitely seems to be the case. Yes, instantly went for the jump out. They are aggressive on the Fury side.
I mean, what a way to start and what a way to be started here. SSG, they're able to get that first take there against Hajime and push them off the board. Earlier on in the day, we obviously got to cast Fury playing up against BDS. It was a 3-7 on Oregon. A very different map in terms of the hold. As I said, one of the big things about Bank is the huge open spaces, the free terrain and territory that goes from corner to corner.
Some pre-fires coming in. The top floor slowly being taken under control here by Space Station. Of course, that jump out does help. It's going to be the Mozzie removed from that board, but also P10 Roni that is way too happy to just, well, fling around corners and stuff like that. Heartbreak takes small amounts of damage as he is doing his job up on that top floor. He is being pressured. He is receiving some resistance. But still has that prepared drone that will be giving him some security there. Knows that no one is coming down to hunt him.
The break on the top of the hatch there, the steady clear over the top. They're eyeing up open. They want to see it as their terrain. Look at Houghton, look at Fultz, and look at the pressure coming from not only Stock, but the back door. They are surrounded and about to be suffered. The grenade rolls close just to make sure nobody's there and no utilities there to catch them on the swing round. Potentially a Banshee, was it? There's the pings on the player, the slightly wide dance. They're not going to really be able to get out of this. There's the fight, the pop-up round the corner, the call. There's one, there's Houghton, there's two. They at least take out Rampy for the exchange, but still, look how much was put there from SSG on that approach. They were not leaving anything to chance.
It's going to be that heavy run from Fury, and, you know, Spacestation will be trying to go for that hunt. Just no one aware of Hotton actually moving through. It's going to be able to open up that hatch through the small hole made in the wall, not having to actually enter the room itself, which means he's, of course, safe from any... Oh, I was going to say, is that a drone in a bulletproof? No, it's the bulletproof that got hacked due to the Dokkaebi ability. So cams are now working against the defenders as well at the same time, especially if you're in garage.
Holding close on the angle, 20 seconds. Bosco's just going to have to take the hot drop on the hatch itself as Hotton's going to see if he can put the pressure down. The main white stairs, I know, and he's caught out. And he's caught out there. Hotton has his triple for the round, a single player like Solus. He's caught in the corner though, and Yeti has the final kill. SSG open it up with a very strong and well put together attack.
It was very convincing there. I mean, I have the feeling that the Fury players have only been in 2 gunfights in that entire round. The rest was being shot from the side or just shut down before they even had the opportunity to react to the Space Station members just zooming past them. That is not a good start for Fury, and that is definitely not something BDS will be happy with as well. But we continue up to the top floor towards CEO. Fury deciding to continue their rotation. Of course, the castle is being brought out, an operator that we often see used on this site to, well, lock off some lines of sight from the windows outside, whilst in the meantime also locking off that B-bomb, so provide some extra security, then create those long angles all the way to the top of square, which you can use to shut down the attackers moving through. Not quite sure if that's exactly what Dark is going for here. Still has 1 left to place, I believe, after this one. Not quite sure. Yeah, does have 1 left. Hasn't placed it yet. Might be going onto that double door from the office to the desk. Either way, the point still stands. The openings have been made to the top of the square. It will be used with long angles. But that way, you need to be careful for the back. You need to be careful for the lobby take that might be coming through. You need to be careful for stock. You need to hold on to all those positions.
Okay, a steady step up here onto the top floor. The lockdown with attention paid towards the chance of another jump out, but you'd be surprised if Fury were going to try and double down on a plan that failed pretty poorly. SSG, they were very good at the close down. All the routes were locked off with pace. They know where they need to be, and they know that it's a big map. It's a big play space. There's a lot of angles and ideas that people can try to cook up here at Bank, so you got to make sure that you go from point to point with the pace of a team that, well, needs to be point to point. Yeti, he's getting himself tucked. Long range onto the windows as he waits for the pressure to here start to collapse across. I9 is underneath the round open. He's not getting any immediate pressure as of yet, but he doesn't have the C4 to do anything too directly from below.
Oh, I was going to say, he's about to be leaning in there, BG, man, and he did exactly that. That's a grenade that bounced back. No, someone might diss that caller for a second. I was afraid their head hit the head of Hot and Cold falling back, but not the case with the entry frag. Still going to be there for Space Station. They're trying to attack stock here. They want to be opening up onto that wall to make the hallway a little bit more dangerous to play behind as a defender, and Hajime is finding that happen around him now. I9 taken down from the skylight up above. Again, a double entry here for the side of Space Station.
I mean, it is so clinical, this approach here. All the pressure onto stock. Hajime is in a bit of an aggressive situation here. He can retreat towards Janitors if he feels the pressure becomes a bit too much, and SSG might start to put that on now. The drone gets caught out by Solus as the long angle. He's doing everything to just keep that play space clear for him at the moment in time, and waits for the drop round, the drone over the top, the prep and the pressure onto the windows. But look at this, SSG, they're making sure they're not going to hand a freebie out. They're keeping themselves at a bit of a stretch of range, keeping themselves with a little bit more mobility as the breach starts to come around. It's Hajime that does find Hotton, but Fault very quickly finds the response.
Site is crumbling apart here. Dark and Lacolas still up, and well, talking about that's only up to Lacolas now. Trying to rotate back, gets it down onto the big stairs, shuts him down as well. The concussions are coming through as the plant is attempted by Bosco. Lacolas needs to make a move stick here, but the reinforced wall is in his way, and that means 45 seconds now on the clock, counting down. A 1v3 clutch needs to be stuck by him, but there's upside down repels, there's players right behind the desk, and inside a janitor ready to clean him up. Even the drones are giving away the information on Lycolis now. Is he going to find it first? A lot of damage done towards Fultz, but not quite the connection that he needs. The pre-fires are coming through somehow. He still lives after all these fires that are happening. Almost misses the head there, but he is going to be shut down eventually. Space Station will lead in with 2-0.
Well, there's the lead in. There's the start. There's the 2 rounds tied together, as we said. And the big graphic at the beginning, lovingly put together, showed SSG want to win as best as possible. The higher they put a distance between them and Fury down below, regardless of the win, the better their chances are. They're looking at, best case scenario, obviously a 7-0, but up to a 7-3 is that sort of wiggle room space where the BDS results
don't matter
so much if they lose. But yeah, a 7-4, a 7-5, certainly BDS has to start losing a little bit more. Or, I mean, in a perfect world for SSG, they didn't get anything.
No, if they just straight up lose, then that's going to be over as well. 7-0 is kind of what they hope for, removes a lot of the stress to make sure that only they need to focus on Fury. But as you mentioned it before, there is quite a bit of margin. 7-0, 7-1, 7-2, 7-3. If that happens and BDS loses 5-7 or worse, they are still going to be the ones going to playoffs, as you just mentioned. So that means there is that, well, bit of extra wiggle room they have currently. They haven't had to yield it yet, and they'll be more than happy as we speak. The more rounds Fury will start to win, the more sweat will definitely start to break out on the SSG faces. So keep an eye out for that when that starts to happen.
It's also worth the context, W7M at this point I don't believe have lost.
No, they're flawless.
They're flawless. The other flawless team actually did lose in the previous showdown. Not the entirety flawless, but the other flawless team that was involved in this conversation.
No, W7M hasn't lost yet.
Huh?
It definitely has. Fultz with the entry again, Lycolis will be shut down. Still, the Frostmats might live to save the day for him. Hajime will be able to find Fultz, and I9 will shut down Rampy. With that, the man advantage now will be there for Fury, even though they lost out on the entry frag. So it's a good recovery coming through, but Hot and Cold is going to be taking out those cameras, will be giving away the information towards the attackers to use as they see fit. You instantly see pings coming out. That might be on the back of those cameras, meaning that they can start working with them. Think of the Evil Eyes, for example. Those are placed, bulletproofs. Those are all suddenly visible for the attackers as well.
Bosco digging his way over the top of the server, trying to find somebody. Secondary or Gon6 is going to be the direct lean through, but I9, he's ready with a shotgun to see if he can get a bit of a loose catch on a player that might be having a shotgun fight of his own. But it's Yeti that finds the next kill. BG Man, he was a big player in the earlier showing. Even though Fury lost out against BDS, he kept on getting bodies down. Here he has been unable even to get active in this fight. There's another one caught. Yeti, he's driving over the opposite side. He digs his way on via tellers, looks across the bow of beepers to see if he can get a direct line to the site, but Dark still sits.
E1D followed up by a drone forces the players to move, because if you sit still, you'll be wall-banged. If you start moving around, you might have an opportunity of finding some hard cover just in time. Not the case there, and Space Station turn it around again with a man advantage, but 35 seconds left on the clock. It is going to be open area. The hatches need to be dropped, or those castle barricades need to be breached. Now, there is going to be a Heartbreak gadget in the pockets of Bosco. He's going to be using this onto the castle barricade as well, as I thought he would, because this gives them a better opportunity of actually moving through safely. You do not want to go for a vault through with 20 seconds left.
20 seconds, and there's the ping on at least one of the players tucked on the far end. They're still opening themselves a stretch. There's nobody on the hatch itself. The swing's going to come from potentially beepers, which Hajime is trying to keep on a lockdown. They're going for the plant on the far end. Bosco's tucked. The cover is dropped. They're pinging the player. They're concerned on the hatch, and Bosco is allowed to get the kit down. Sprayed a bit, survives, doesn't win out the second set of that fight, but Yeti, he's on the far end. He can get a long overwatch here. They've got to try and take the fight. It's a very clever place to plant. but he's lost the real read on where the players are. There it is. The first line's up. The second is just behind. Yeti takes a bit of damage. Hajime, he's got to chase the kill. Just misses the timing on the angle. Sprays a bit, gives the game away. And this is it. How are you going to play this? Softs up the door itself, buys himself a second. You assume they're just going to shoot through this, holds down the click. The player's rotated. He's looking for the feet, and Yeti played that perfect.
Well done by Yeti there. He knew he had that long angle he could use. You see, that's a rehearsed plan from Space Station. They know the angles they can use to stop these plans from happening. And yes, of course, as soon as you barricade off that door, that's going to be a call sign. Okay, there is going to be a stuck defuse now. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock. I need to go down. I need to be ready in case he sticks in a bit of a safe space. And now a timeout is being called by Fury, because it's not really going as they wish. All of their sides they have brought so far have been beaten. And even though they found themselves in an advantage here today, you also got to check on it. There's a lot of cameras they use, a lot of indestructible cameras as well, or bulletproof cameras at that. Think of the Evil Eyes, think of the bulletproof gadgets. Those, with Dokkaebi, instantly become into the hands of the attackers. They can start using them as well. And those are usually cameras you place on site. You starting to see the issue here? Gets hacked, they know exactly where you will be on the site. And that is how they managed to punish them, how they knew where they were, and were able to stick that plant and provide some cover in the meantime.
With current trends, we've got to keep you informed about the game that's going on the other stream, the importance that it is. It's one round behind ours, but it's still a bit of a story. If you don't want to know, cover your ears.
Tell me the story.
That's enough time. One apiece, BDS versus W7M. The unbeaten Brazilian team claimed the first round. BDS fought one back.
That's one of the rounds that Spacestation will not be happy with, but again, still plenty of wiggle room to go for. And as we continue, Space Station on their mission to make sure they did everything they could. Ideally for them, 7-0 to 7-3 win. They did everything they could. There's nothing more that they could do, right? Like, all of those 4 results have the same outcome. So that's what they will be aiming for. Lose as minimal amount of rounds as possible. As they're headed back towards the lockers room downstairs. It is going to be a SSG on the attack again. It's BDS on the other side, of course, that's playing.
BDSSG?
BDSSG.
Terrifying. That's 10 players.
A hell of a combination.
All right, Fury, you've taken your time out. You want to have a conversation. For us to hit that tiebreaker match that maybe you guys want to see, well, Fury have to get at least, well, no, they have to get specifically 5 rounds, not even at least. It has to be a specific result. At this pace, you'd be surprised if they're able to really claim anything here on their defense. Sure, Bank does lean well towards attackers, but this has been so well put together by SSG. They know how they want to take control of parts of this map. They know how they want to take control of Fury's players as well. It's well rehearsed. And for a team that sometimes had a little bit hit and miss in terms of the success rate of their attack plays and ploys, this just feels step for step to the metal and the metal. And now it's their chance to see if they can keep proving it after the timeout.
Seen some frost mats placed in strategic positions to see if they can, you know, maybe shut down 1 or 2 of the SSG players as they are clearing out onto that first floor. There's going to be a Black Eye in position, pinging out the drone. The IQ hasn't been in a position yet where she could take care of said camera, which means that Yeti will actually have to go for it, but I don't think he sees it, which means he's going to be fully in vision right now. Don't think the hatch is soft, so they're not going to be able to get AC4 up, so they're not going to be able to secure Yeti, but at least they still know he is going to be coming from that main stairs area.
The opening of the rotations, the route through, and the hatch is being popped within this 2-minute time. It's pretty quick, but there wasn't really a fight happening from Fury on the stretch of the rest of the map, so they're more than happy to sort of sit, wait, and watch. It's quite an aggressive position there by I9. You wouldn't really see too many players take this sort of angle because you'll drop this expecting a swing and a fight. A C4 is an early giveaway that it's being watched, and Houghton watches it even further. I9 slipped back. He knew the cover was being broken open. He couldn't sit around, otherwise he would have just been a sitting duck. At least he has that route through, but still the first body once again is gone, and it's maybe the worst at this point, the smoke.
It's not ideal, but luckily there's still plenty of Vulcan canisters left on the site. So the default plans on the actual A-bomb site, I don't think that is going to be working here. Space Station need to go for an alternate take. They need to be dropping the vault. They need to potentially be dropping the elevator. See if they can be isolating the players out here. The phone call comes through with the logic bomb. That is going to be giving away the fact that people are down below waiting. And as all the fire is down on the ground now, they hope there's going to be enough time to push through, still go for that plant. And there's no utility left, which there is, to stop this plant from happening once they are safe.
Bosco takes the fire, and he takes some fire. BG Man and I9 are the ones at the moment. It's a 3 versus 3, but without a kit.
Oh, they haven't.
Oh, they just picked it up in time, but there's the stop on the plant, pulled off at the last second. Fury, they get around. They get the start of something, the most important one after the timeout. They need to start threading some more together here, get themselves potentially an even half, but at best, let's see if they can get one more.
That's it. Let's see if this can become at least a 2-round half for Fury to put them into a bit of a fighting position for the rest of that game. What they did well here is play it in a bit of a different way. They were definitely still out on their own. There was definitely a lot of utility that needed to be cleared out on the first and second floor by Space Station Gaming. But they made sure they did not lose anybody in the process. Then there's about a minute left. Hatches are getting opened up. There's going to be tons of fire down still on that default plant spot, which was exactly what SSG was formulating themselves around. You start popping that, there's no way they could go for a plant. You saw it out there. Bosco went. Instantly taken down. You then saw Rampy go and trying to salvage that kit, also just melting almost up until the DBNO point. And Fury, they stalled enough time there to make sure they win the round. But they need to do that a couple more times to either help themselves to a point or make sure that BDS would be the ones to qualify. Don't think they will have a preference themselves, but their own successes, which is going to be, let's see if we can take points home.
Okay, SSG, you dropped one. You're still within your wiggle room. As I said before, the perfect end is anything 7-3 or under. It doesn't guarantee them, but it puts them in the best possible slot. And it means we don't have to do too much mental maths to work out exactly who is going to be leaving this group between them and BDS. It's 1 of 3. That's the other way of looking at this right now, but you know, they're 3 or 4 short of being able to lock this map out, and they're prepped, ready for the idea of a bit of pace. The ping on the castle on the far end, you're looking at, obviously, the quick zip. Not with the kit, though. That's driven by Bosco. Yeti, he's tucking past the camera. You talked about the importance. There's the break. There's the Gon 6 over the top of the window. The back end, Yeti gets 1, and that was sharp as a tack. Gets the catch. Fultz is watching for the fight on the rotate. Round out the small box in the core of the archives. They don't quite have it. They're tucked behind the desk, waiting for the bit of movement. There is calls, there is hot, and there is some hope, and I9. Oh, he's tucked with a pistol here.
Doesn't want to reload, he's afraid that he will be pushed as soon as he does, so the best thing he has is that pistol that does 45 damage per shot. E1D comes in, but no drones to follow up. They know someone's going to be on the main stairs now. Yeti will be slightly, well, distracted by said player. Space Station went for a very good execute though. Yeti pushing in from tellers at the same time. Fultz pushing in from that window right into the archives, and they took a lot of good control. I9 now drops by Fultz. That was just a matter of time when he was waiting with the pistol out there, and that leaves it into a 5v3 situation in favor of Space Station.
Yeah, they had the ping on the player. We saw the drone just roll through in a yellow one, which sort of marked the end of I9. He wasn't really behind any solid cover there. He just hoped he had not been seen. Houghton with the rotate round, and what we saw here was not a last-ditch plant. It was successful, and it came off the back of a Yeti post-plant 1 versus 2 clutch, but still, look at this. The attention is paid so much quicker towards the site, the big triple walls as before. There's a break on a bulletproof camera just to buy themselves the rotate a little bit later. Rampy's stacked up, and here with some more attempt on pace, the impact BG Man buys them 1. Here's a second though.
Bridge coming through, not going to be able to be denied, and with that, an opening has been created. The drone as well, spotting out exactly what his Maestro has been setting himself up. Yeti, ready for the roamer, knows someone is coming in from the flank, is just making sure he doesn't get spotted. Lacalis will get the first, takes down Bosco, the side, it's going to be a shuffle now.
There's Hajime with a second. Yeti goes down, but Houghton's able to drive into the site and deeper into the site. Hajime, well, he doesn't last anywhere as long. SSG, they find their 4th round. Fury have 1. and they pull the balance back over. Can they get themselves the 5-1 half? Or as I said, will we see a second here from Fury?
Again, going to be commending the push there they used on that very get-go. Amara ready to just drop down through the window, down the stairs, right into Archives. Whilst at the same time, you had the Gon 6 using it to make sure that Nuck able to instantly get inside of Archives. They were together at that point. They had cover for one another. If one got into a gunfight, the other was able to support. They instantly cleared out that room. Or both rooms, really. And that just gives you a direct entry next to the site within 30 seconds of that round. And then you just need to play patiently, isolate those players, again, find an angle to take them down without losing any of your own players. So well done by Spacestation Gaming. That's what we like to see, those kind of pushes. By the way, round 6, you mentioned it. Round 2 for Fury, possibly. For Spacestation going to be extending on their lead, making it a 5-1, trying to speed run this game so they can watch the BDS game.
Talking of,
yes. That was
talking of the BDS game, if you don't want to know, cover your ears. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. BDS in the lead with a bit of a distance. As we said, as soon as they start getting higher and higher on this list, this is currently a position where Fury end up.
We can start crossing these out as well at some point.
We can start crossing these out. We can almost cross out the tiebreaker at this point now, but they're making things tougher and tougher. They might still lose, they might still come back. There's still a lot for SSG. They're doing everything they can. That's the important part, though. It's not entirely in their hands. I9, do you know? Yes.
He does. Great first opening there, just being patient, and that shows why he droned from outside the building, if you want to be entering quickly. Or at least there's someone to support you as they swing by. So it's going to be Yeti gone, that's going to be Nuck gone, the one operator that can sneak by all the information gadgets that are being used by Fury. Now, this time it's only going to be 2 bulletproof cameras in the pockets of Lycola's in dark, together, of course, with the default cams that are inside that building. But it's an entry kill, most importantly for Fury. Now they just need to be holding onto that man advantage and play that train game well.
All right, a good first pickup here, SSG. How can you work without that early body in your favor? You lose the Nuke, you lose Yeti, who's been a big driving force on those pushes. And I think from seeing this team, at least in one of the games that we've been able to cast, sometimes their attacks do have these little sticky moments that don't quite come together. This is definitely a different swing of SSG. It's been very well put together, but this is often that test. How do they work when things are away from them? BG Man with the first impact. BG Man with the... nothing else is the follow-up. There it is, but it does not quite connect. There was only 2 that dropped. They were sort of baiting that, but now there's the 4 to get the lock-in.
Yeah, so that is now the full wall going to be opened up to provide themselves as wide as an angle as they possibly can to shut down that entire hallway. Rampy's using his, I believe that was an impact to make sure he widens up the hull. But I believe he's actually figured out I9 was just in lobby. I believe there was also a yellow ping coming through. That's why they went off the rappel right there. Did not want to risk it. They see it's gone now. They get back on it. They're making sure that they're doing the work that needs to be done, which is opening up, preparing themselves for a plant and giving them a route out.
Yeah, the thing about that position there, the thing about what Bosco's doing is if he gets dropped, that kit goes cold and, well, Rampy's there for now. But if I9 had been able to get a sneaky strike on the pair of them, that's a huge rotate to have to recollect that and start the fight. Foltz digs in, gets dug out. Hajime with the quick response inside Janitors this time instead of a step in front. I9, he gets one of his own. Houghton, he's able to get across the bow, but look at that, 10 seconds, only Houghton left. He's trying to find his way into a site that's otherwise been pushed apart. A great take onto Hajime. The 2 remaining players are pretty much out of there. There's no kit in pocket. He has to find fights, and they are not giving them to him. 2 rounds for Fury's half.
Now it's going to be a 1 extra round in the wiggle room that Space Station is allowed to lose. Mentioned again, there's 1 more available for them. After that, it starts to cost them in their chances of qualifying themselves for the playoffs. As it's 4-2, they're still in the lead. Still 2 rounds in the lead. Going over to the defense themselves now. They have the opportunity to make that difference. And I'm going to say it again. We said it before, you know, teams that, you know, are somewhat new to the global stage, to the international majors. that defenses, you're going to be able to relatively often find rounds on the defense. The attack is where it gets more difficult, though. So Fury, they need to make sure that connects. They are able to, well, isolate Spacestation Gaming, cut themselves a way through, find themselves an opportunity they can utilize.
All right, second half, second play, and I talked about this map being a good one for attackers, but it's time for Fury to try and prove that. We've had some very well put together breaks and breaches here from SSG across this map. It was so coordinated when it was, and you know, there was some moments where a player slipped by and got an early strike, but outside of that, you have to give credit to how SSG has attacked this map. They have defense onto at least some of their time favor here. They can try and stretch that out and stretch out the play of Fury. Fury has the drive to try and isolate.
I9 in with a quick drone into the open area. See if there's a player out there. There's a head spotted. There's also the sound given out to Yeti. He's gonna be finding that, taking it out, making sure that information is denied. Still 8 drones left though in the pockets of Fury. Shouldn't be too much of an issue to work with that to find out where these players are going to be at, and what an opportunity they might be able to present themselves. As long as Yeti is in open area though, those hatches will stay closed. They need to be working together to remove him from set plays.
Slow and steady. They're concerned about the full stretch of the map here. They're not really going to risk anything, it seems like, at this moment in time. They're going for the calls. They want to get the catch. Someone might rotate up around here, or they might rotate down. It's the back end. And that player tucked in the corner that's now tucked himself out. They rotate away, pull themselves steadily across, but they've wasted a lot of time on the back of this, and that's the big stretch. They still have this, the control over blue. They still have a lot of barb to dig through, the hatches as well. Fury, they're moving quite slow and cautious, and that's only working in SSG's favor.
It definitely is. Luckily, though, there is going to be the opportunity for the Bug to use the Heartbreak gadgets to help open up these hatches. So 9 starts opening up. It's Houghton that drops, but not before he took down Lycola, so it's going to be an even trade.
Yeah, even trade on the back end. They lose Houghton, they lose the ability to do a little bit more architecture. That's the fight around blue. The hatch should get popped open, but look at Bosco. He's sort of stepping his way a bit close here. The breach will probably move him out of position. There it is. He wants to make sure he does not get caught out because he can still cook things on the back end. The sprays come across the back. They're looking to see if they can get a pinch, 50-ish seconds, as we start to roll closer and closer towards the actual execute onto the site itself. A hack of a phone, another call, any eyes inside the camera are theirs, but here it is, the stack up. And what you're looking at now is what's in the pockets and what's in the site. The first fire breaks. There's an important one to take, just close as well, otherwise it will waste another 15 seconds. And talk about it, there's at least 30 in the pocket of Bosco and only 30 left.
He's going to be able to stall quite a bit out here, and there's still fire they can pop that will stop this default plan from happening. There needs to be a plan B on Fury's side. Doesn't seem like it's there, though. They need to go for Hail Mary drops and, well, literally hope for the best. It's exactly what Dark goes for, but instantly taken down. The fire pops right afterwards as well. BG Men takes a bit of damage, manages to find a bit of safety. Could go for a plant, but it's not going to be completely safe. It is going to be a softball with only 7 seconds left. SSG looking to hold on. The diffuser gets dropped. I9 will find one, not the second, and that means Spacestation Gaming able to lock in their 5th round.
I mean, okay, he swung in. He was looking for the fight there. They tried to find, I guess, one more player before they went for the plant. There was only about 4 or 5 seconds left. At that point, you know, you thought, okay, he's tucked himself close on the wall. Maybe they'll just try and stick it here. They got the player inside gold. They have themselves a little bit of wiggle room. Sure, you expect a rotation. It seemed like they'd put a plan together, but the plan didn't quite come together.
Again, they just tossed themselves in, hope for the best there. They needed to go, they needed to find some space, but due to the fact that none of those 4 walls were reinforced, if you start planting, you'll just be wallbanged, right? Like that is going to be certain. Maybe that's why he wanted to go for a kill, just make sure that he is not going to be instantly challenged by one of the other players, because he only had 1 piece of cover with him, and that was going to be coming from the elevator, so he was not going to be safe at all to go for that plant. So he went for it. He sent himself in deep, lost the diffuser as a result, and while there's not much more you can do after that. Space Station leading 5-2. As mentioned, they can still afford to lose an extra round before it starts hurting their opportunities. in terms of what they can do themselves. So if they really want to be maximizing this game, they will lock it off within the next 3.
Hey, production.
Hey.
Take a breather. No tiebreaker.
Okay, there we go. That one is
the precipice of a tiebreaker has now been passed based on the results currently ongoing. We will not have another tiebreaker situation at a major, not this year. Well, not yet.
Not at all. So maybe during SI, which will technically...
I count that as this year.
Well, it's also going to be 2023, right? So it depends on what year you go.
It's the end of a siege year. That's I buy siege-based calendars that start in March and end in February.
Is that also when you do the new year? Is that,
yeah, Happy New Siege year. We will not have it. BDS have pulled themselves ahead of that mark in the other game. It's still all up in the air. We don't know who's going to do it. We just know that there's not going to be a tiebreaker. Hajime, I love Zero on this map. It gives you some great control of a big open space. As I talked about the dangers of Bank, and probably why you don't see it too much is intel is such a big thing when you come to international play, because each region sort of does intel in their own slight different way. A drone in a different corner of a room can go from being an easy pickup every time to something nobody ever sees. It almost becomes like a default that's in a different place on a map. We've seen teams punished it across the board here. There's the long angle, I9. He's eyeing up the reverse shield and just slips on by.
Trying to sneak through, gets a ping. That's the target he's going for. He wants to get the entry kill. If they do, Fury have a good opportunity of winning around here. He's coming around the corner hard right. There is the Izami, but he's just walking through. You have a ping! You have a ping on Bosco. He did not check it. And that's an entry kill for SSG.
Yeah, that is not a great moment there. He had the idea, he had the ping, maybe he thought it was on the other side, maybe he thought he had a little bit more room. Rampy with the P90, pops Lysolis. And that now puts them 2 bodies up and only 1 away from being able to put themselves on map point. Dark gets the response. He has control of stock, and yet he is removed from the board. The Kaid, gone, the long gone, and the big one gone as well.
I was going to say, didn't see Foles just being in the corner there off the main stairs. Bosco shuts him down. Dark again with a response now, looking to get inside a Janitor to take revenge for the first kill that came through, but Bosco gets it. It's a triple kill for him. Only up to Hajime now in a 1v3 situation. Bosco will be taken down. Is he going to be able to go for the clutch? He takes down that diffuser, picks it up, has the opportunity to dig it in behind the desk now. Everything has been locked off. He is getting some pings. Just make sure that he actually replied to them properly. But as the time is ticking down, he needs to make a decision. And that means that the plant is coming down, hoping to put 45 on the board, but he's about to be flanked by Rampy, who's coming around the corner. The wallbangs are coming through. He gets that kill, but that means that the time will run out. There is no opportunity to go for it. This should mean that Hot and Cold is able to lock it off and does so as well. Space Station, 2-6, match point.
There's just moments of Fury's play where you're sort of like, come on. Like, it's little disconnects. The ping and the play and the position was one thing.
I hope we get to see it in the replay, because I was pretty sure there was a ping out there. And I'm not sure if it was a ping to ping out the Kiba barrier, but that shows up at a gadget icon, right? So it's weird. Either way, it happens. Space Station able to punish them for it. That is most important. And with that, they are about to maximize whatever they could do in this matchup. And as soon as they're done with it, they're instantly rushing over towards the other side just to watch it, just to see if they will be making it to playoffs or not. Because it's not in their hands at this point.
It is not, but they are doing everything possible to give themselves the best possible chance here. And SSG, to be fair to them, their other previous best game was against Fury. I don't know what it is about these 2 teams hitting heads, but SSG has definitely done the homework. Or there's something about their play that just does not compute with Fury's approach. Either way, they are only needing 1 more round to secure themselves. As I said, the best possible outcome. It means that, well, BDS winning was always going to be the danger, but BDS, if they want to make it, they can only win. They cannot lose by 5-7. The game is still back and forth on the other stream.
I was going to say, I just heard some cheers, but usually that means that the louder team has won a round, which I believe is W7M, but I'm not...
You never know.
You never know.
Because the French can be vocal.
They can be, but usually they get very vocal when the job is done, especially BDS. I9 trying to go for the top of square, see what he can do. That's a default cam gone. That's a piece of utility they do no longer need to worry about. That's RC Rotero stuck right behind the mute jammer, so they need to clear that. And if they do, it will explode. they can also not just jump in. Yeti escaping with his life. He probably knows that. There's 2 players ready to just jump in right after him. Be careful. No, someone is going to be on the top of Skylight now because some shots were returned to him. Looking for a shadow, maybe that can give him some information. Probably is fully aware of which angle's being held, though.
Dark. He's breaking his way across stock here, and as we said before, there's been 1 or 2 disconnects in terms of getting the approach. There's the first. Yeti gets the lockdown, gets the drive, gets a little bit of damage done. The pressure's coming back against him. I have a very important update about the other game, but I'll take it now very quickly. BDS are up 5-3. They just need 1 round. BDS are only needing 1 round regardless of the result here, and they confirm themselves through. SSG, they're still doing everything. They've still got this. And as the pressure comes out on the hold over the top, go back to this now. The break and the pressure on the swing. Totten that gets dropped out. Lycolis gets caught. BG Man gets the pick up and the revenge. There will be a quick response here from SSG. They're rotating around over the top of Square. I'm not sure how aware they are, but with the kid in that awkward position, it's not going to be the cleanest recollection. I9 does find Hot, and Hajime finds Rampy.
Oh, Yeti just coming through, finds one, not the second. I9 locks them both out, and that means another round is won for Fury. And that now means that if SSG does not take the next round, they are starting to get into trouble, even if they do win it. Because as you just mentioned, BDS is on 5. And if we start to check, all right, okay, SSG wins 7-0 to 7-3. That's still currently the case. And a 5-7 loss for BDS will be enough.
Would be enough.
Once another round is being won by Fury, okay, SSG wins 7-4. Then BDS lose 4-7.
So if Fury win this round,
or BDS wins the next,
SSG are done.
Exactly. That is what we're currently eyeing up here. So there's 2 opportunities to lock this off. It's either a Fury round or it's a BDS round on the other stream. Then we have our teams locked in and ready to go for the group stage draw. There's 2 more options. It's not.
There's 2 more options. BDS fans, one eye on one stream, one eye on the other. I assume the same for SSG.
It's like that SpongeBob meme where you're trying to read.
All right, Fury, a big change in terms of what you're pulling here. You lost the opening body, but picking things apart, the drive through onto site, I really liked. You hit open. You realized just where the hold was. When we go back to what this site was, it wasn't a great take, but look at the slight difference in the hold now. Yeti isn't playing above an open hatch, but might still stretch himself around that area. He was able to do some damage. He might try and play his life there a little bit more. Otherwise, look at this. Lycolis straight down against the fighter Rampy. There's another player behind him. They're getting some backup here. Rampy maybe wants to step up, puts the disc round. There's 3 players inside dirt. They're about to swing into a fight. Have a clone, and they tuck behind the server stack. There is some support at the top of the E1D, and a smoke canister buys them some time. Well played. Bosco offers some support. The Prox is just going to go a little bit round on the corner, so he gets an early reading. They can still play the position. The difference of a second maybe was the marker.
That's it. Fury wanted to go quick there. They realized, okay, there is some setup being done. We have a little bit of time to try and sneak in quickly, just not quick enough, and that means they need to fall back, devise up a different kind of plan, which seems like it might revolt around the garage, because they know there's going to be a player out there. The open area has also been taken under control by Fury, so hatches will start to be opened up. So, you know, that means that the pressure will start to arise on these defenders.
We did talk about this before, how close and how much of a drive something can do when it pulls some attention. They're ready to try and do this, the pop of the first, and
to be quick.
Yeah, I don't know if that was quick enough. They're saving the last one to see if they can get the vault on the back end just in time. There's the pop of the E1D right behind it, the burn of the Aruna gate. They're looking towards anyone that might try and rotate out of the server stack. A minute 33. It's been a very clean approach towards the gadgetry and gadgets at this point, but SSG is still sat waiting. You assume these hatches will get popped open. They're going to go for the final one on the back end. The burn of those 2 keeps them on range. There's the swing round in the corner and the player playing close. They know they're there. They've got a shotgun locked and ready to go. If they want to try and get this cracked open, the hatch is the method. I'm assuming that's the successful hatch broken on the far opposite side. The final babe is thrown out the window. These 2 players caught on the corner are in their dying throes. Rampy, he's still ready. He's still under pressure.
That's the solution they need to find either Bosco or the player on the server stack. Once they do, they can push in. But they also realize, hey, there's 2 players out there. Maybe we need to go for a different approach. Dark already all the way down onto the main stairs. The keeper barriers are reinforcing the fault drop there. Hajime is about to go in. It's a double kill for Fury there. I9 and Hajime both find one.
There's Rampy biting back just when they need it the most. He's holding on for dear life. There's still some prep on the pressure on the hatches, and Dark, he's waiting for the players to rotate, but talking of, one's gone all the way from the bottom to the top, over the back end. Fury, you gotta move, and you gotta move now. BG Man is making that happen. They're over the top of the hatch. They're rotating around onto the back of gold. They don't know where the kit's going down, but the spray comes for Dark. Now in a post-plant situation, Hot and Cold and Bosco are all that are keeping them in this tournament. Hotton finds the first. They're tucked inside the site. The spray gets the second, and 2 versus 2. Control of the verticality. BG Man, he's tucked on a corner. I9 has the range. The plant is in a great place for them to watch. They have themselves locked. There's the ping on the single player. There's a spray back up. They know where each other is, but it's Hotton to get one more. The only man standing between SSG right now and staying in this tournament is I9, once known as Napew. He's able to get the first. He looks for the second. Fury send SSG home, and we're talking like the game's ended. BDS, they leave the group.
They leave the group, they go to playoffs. Fury has just done them a favor in case they cannot lock it off themselves. And I just have to say, that last little moment out there, that gave me some reminiscence to a Coastline play back during a Six Invitational. Although it's not Fury themselves that won it out here, but it was a different team that profits from it. 6-4, still the opportunity to lock it off. Space Station have no clue that it's over for them yet.
That also means, in terms of SI, SSG, I believe, fall outside of the points. The 2 teams newly confirmed going to SI, Cyclops and Sonics.
So with Fury getting that 1 round.
1 round, Fury.
Or 4 rounds, really. But that one play, they have qualified Cyclops and Sonics for the Sixth Invitational, and they have given BDS their ticket to Jönköping.
You got to send them some jerseys.
You definitely got to send them some love there, because they definitely helped all of you out.
Who else but the coolest man at the tournament, I9. Okay, the game isn't over. There's still some chance here. There's still a bite. SSG have a game to play ahead of them. These guys won't know the result of the ongoing game on the other stream. Likewise, vice versa. So, they can only keep playing what is ahead of them. That does lock in our positions, lock in our seeds, though. So I'm sure production is going to be fervently preparing for the draw after this.
I already have it prepared myself.
Oh, right.
I'm out. Gotta reload.
That gets all of our SI teams qualified for the first time. Start your theories, make your calendars.
Still 4 more for the open qualifiers to come through, but that is something that is going to be happening after the major, so nothing to worry about now.
All right, SSG holding on now as the approach starts to come through. They've got themselves the control of the top floor here. It turned into a bit of a bloodbath, and I'm going to say a bit of a mistake in terms of the drones and the intel that Fury had in front of them. SSG, they were able to keep punishing from the same position. The swings on janitors, the power position they had locked in on the back end. It was just sort of a little bit of a mistake after a mistake after a mistake. Now, since then, Fury seemed to have gotten a little bit sharper. But even then, you've got to look at the previous round. It came down to a clutch out there. It was a 2 versus 4 that almost succeeded.
It did, but that's another entry kill. Dark finds Fultz. That is going to be crucial. It's the Valkyrie off the board. Another C4 they don't have to worry about when they're attacking CEO. That means that the plant has become a bit more safe. Just a single C4 to worry about now. Breaches already have been made. Keeper barriers are being used to try and rebuild the site. And Talon shields are being deployed, trying to be set up. Wallbang's attempt at Rampy waiting for a long angle with a P90 here. And a zoom scope, hoping to make the difference, hoping to bring back that body balance back into SSG's favor.
Attackers have dropped the bomb. Attack.
Well, there's a response towards a bit of a setup there. Hajime, who's been a good bite back player, has been bitten off the board. Bosco just misses the player that slips on by. Oh, and unfortunately for them, I9 is going to get one, and BG Man's going to see if he can stick the kit. In the meantime, they're going for the quick pick back up. Bosco finds it, but Dark has the revenge, and look at this all over the shop. Dark's going to see if he can try and stick it one more time. Hotton, once again, in this clutch situation. The pings are there, but behind the Talon shield, not much to do. Ooh, Fury. That's 3 rounds in a row. They now are separated from OT, and their first point in this tournament by 1 round.
That's what they're aiming for. Trying to get those points, trying to get a win, bring it back home. That's their goal. I mean, they probably knew we're not going to be winning this major. Let's just see how far we can come. They're 0-5, okay? It's like, okay, well, so be it. We're just going into this last game. We'll have a good time. We'll have a play. But this tells you more. Spacestation Gaming going for the tech timeout. Logically so, because they need to win. They know they need to win. Even though it doesn't matter anymore, that's all that they are aware of. They need these 3 points. They have 1 more round to get them. Because otherwise, they have definitely not done what they needed to do in order to keep themselves in. Again, it is over, don't worry. They don't know that. That's what the players are thinking right now. Like, this is our final shot at having a shot. And the lockers are coming out to be the final sight of the regulation time. Spacestation Gaming bringing smoke, bringing Azami, bringing the Vulcan canisters, just to make sure there is going to be that delay, but also putting Yeti up on that warden in case there is going to be any fancy kind of executes to come through with flashbangs and smokes. There's just a lot of insurances built into the composition from this lineup.
Do you know what's really strange?
What is?
Since SSG has been on map point, Fury have played with a lot more confidence. It's really weird to piece together, is they've just suddenly gone, okay, well, let's just drive ourselves towards the site. Let's get ourselves locked down. Let's sort of get these kits in. They're trying to get the plant put on the board, right on the border of the line. I don't know if it's that SSG's playing a bit more patient. Their holds have been the same, I would say. But if anything, the game that I've seen change is Fury's. They've just gone, let's just hit the site.
Now, the thing is as well, the last round is always the most difficult to lock in, right? It's like, it's together with the first and the last. Those are the 2 rounds that have the most, well, anxiousness around them. Again, like, let's just push us in. Takes hot and cold. This is what they wanted to do the last time around, Emmy. They wanted to get in quickly, find themselves the entry, and they can push on forward from there on. They find hot and cold. Crucial. And now they need to move on. That's another entry. They might be taking a point here.
I mean, they have the advantage. He's often been the last name left standing. He was always one of the ones that clutched out the previous time they were on this site, but could not quite make the connection. Here, getting that kill early. It's going to be something that they try and get a drive onto it. There's more shouting coming from the other game. It sounds very intense. Again, they don't know what the result is of the group. They also really want to beat each other.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, W7M wants to go flawless.
W7M want to beat everybody.
Point. That's it. That's all they need.
If there was a team that you told me they were asked to, they could play 2 teams at once, I'd be like, it's W7M.
No, for sure. It's like, you know, that kind of chess where you have like one person playing at the same time. That's what they would do.
Either way. So here either French or Portuguese shouted through the wall. This is going to be the first shout. Bosco swings, gets a pop, and just make sure that nobody follows him down. But look at the positions. They have themselves tucked into dirt. The hatch is still solid, so he does have a route and a run out. Look at this, though. Yeti gets up, gets I9, gets the rotate, and gets the spray through on the unsuspecting player of the moment previously. Bosco does find Dark as well. SSG's been able to bite back the body balance. The rotate comes across. BG Man. He didn't have the sharpest start, but has since been able to find the kit down a couple of times. There's the reveal. Pops the head of the player, brings it back to a 3 versus 3. With a minute on, they still got to push into the site. Lysolis, he's still waiting, hoping he's gone unchecked. There's a rotate that's coming through from the site. Doesn't quite have the angle on him. Fultz is just double checking it to make sure it's safe. There'll be the drop and the reveal of the player. Bosco gets the lockdown onto the door itself. The second player is down behind them. He should hear that. There it is, Bosco. He'd have to come down to a big clutch, which we're not going to see. SSG, they win the map, they take the fight, they take the fight, they take the 3 points, and you can see Yeti asking how much. Unfortunately, just a bit too much. They gave it their all on the last days.
It is heartbreaking to see, right? Because you see them, yes, we won, and then they look over to the analyst, and it's going to be a no, being shaken from that head. And you instantly see like that pleasure, that joy from we won, just disappear instantly. And it's just heartbreaking for the players, but it is going to be the nature of that competition. And this is the moment they realize that they won. They did what they needed to do. It's just not enough.
It's one of those sort of showings, and like in quick over to Fury, the team that still unfortunately unable to pull a point here. A bit of back to the drawing board for SSG. It is worth noting, obviously, they had the roster changes before they came in.
Yep.
But here is where that stops. So close, and nothing tastes as bitter when it is the difference of maybe a round or two. We will see, though, how things shape up. There is now all of the teams confirmed. We'll go through it all properly in a little bit, but I believe instead we'll go to a break very soon. Let's go.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a two-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Hello, and for one last time, welcome back here to a post-game on a 7-5 Fury. The best performance they've been able to put down, enough to buy BDS a ticket through to the playoffs, and enough to send SSG home, including some SI things. A heck of a loss.
Heck of a loss indeed, and if you hadn't actually seen it yet, the other stream finished 7-5 W7M, so the rounds that Fury managed to win, in the end, even more important than they might have realized at that moment in time for BDS. So surely BDS is going to be thanking Fury for that performance.
I mean, Fury sent them through based on the work that they did in this game, based on the play, and at a lot of points in this game, it did not look likely. It looked like SSG were going to run away with it. It was a powerful opening performance on attack. They were locked in. It was a 5-2, then a 6-2 difference, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to come down now to the other game and the result. BDS has got to win, and then Fury showed up. They found themselves a rhythm on their attack, as I put it. They found a confidence that they just were lacking before the rest of that. It didn't quite get them the win or a point from the playoffs or from the groups at all, but it did buy a lot of teams some preference. It also dictated some SI things. SSG will not be at SI unless they make it through the open brackets. Cyclops and Sonics will be.
Still some small mistakes made by Fury. They can go back over here and try and realize, okay, this was going wrong. We need to work on this for next year, for the next international appearance they hope to make. But they can definitely leave with their heads held up high because they have put in a hell of a performance after being down quite a bit. So, you know, they did show some mental fortitude there. Unfortunately, they couldn't lock it off all the way. And for Space Station, well, they got a win. The happiness was there, but within a second that evaporated as well as they realized it was not enough.
The fact it comes down to round difference as well.
I did say it at the start of the day when BDS was playing Furious, like, it is coming down to round differential.
Yep.
It's going to be important.
It's like every single moment mattered, and they started to show up. As I said, obviously, I9 clutched out the round that was the most directly important, but then they put a couple more down just to ensure the difference, just to ensure the space. It was necessary at the end of it. BDS, they got themselves up to the precipice, but could not push the game over the edge. As we said, W7M, they don't like losing, and they want that flawless statistic from this. I believe maybe the only group to truly go across that board.
BDS had a group to spare at the end, and indeed W7M is the only team that has gone flawless throughout the groups, or at least has not had any overtime either. So they'll be more than happy. People already starting to dub them as one of the favorites, but I mean, the entirety of LATAM is currently a favorite inside of the tournament. But to, well, basically summarize. SSG,
let's have a look.
They won, not enough. Fury lost, no points for them. Let's pull up the groups.
We're going to go through all of the groups as well. Obviously, we're going to surmise because we will have the prize draw, the playoffs draw. No prizes yet. First group, Sonics. From a rough first day towards domination over the next, they find the top spot. Black Dragons, they're able to eke their way through into the second with some fantastic performances against Cyclops and M&M, who just unfortunately lost their footing from the first day at the top to the last day at the bottom. M&M, unfortunately, didn't. Cyclops almost pulled it back. There was some moments, but Black Dragons, they are taking that second spot in Group B. We find, well, kind of a similar story. Team Liquid, though, the ones at the top, they only dropped a little bit at the very end versus a TSM that needed it pretty much heroic. They were back and forth, a rough day at the office and a rough opening game today. It's going to maybe haunt them a little bit, especially the first, where it was 2-5-7 losses. Maybe one of those results goes a different way, especially against TSM. It's different. Sandbox, unfortunately, they could not collect any points from this.
No, and the minus 25 round differential as well is not something they'll be happy with. They need to go back to that drawing board. What exactly went wrong on this international appearance? Then we have a Group C, the one that we just saw locked off. W7M, flawless, 18 points, 21 round differential, absolutely dominating this group. BDS will be taking that second place, equal points to Space Station, but you see it, 2 round differential extra. They had a round to spare. Basically that. They could have lost an extra round just now. Fury is going to be locking it off with 0 points, 0 wins, 0 OTs, and a minus 23.
You don't want to.
No, you don't want to, but they could have.
Because it couldn't have, not just today, it could have been that round across the whole.
Yeah, they could have lost 1 round over the last 3 days and 6 games they played. That's basically the playing field they had. Except if it was against SSG, then it would have been a bit different.
Except if it was in this, a group that turned into one of the tighter ones. Mirage, unfortunately, at the bottom, but their first sort of performance on the grander stage. Direwolves, similar story. They started to claw their way back up towards the end, but Wolves and FaZe. I mean, they came into this as 2 tournament favorites. They came into this as 2 teams that we expected to get to the groups. There were moments where it was a little bit hit and miss, and then they turned it to hit and hit. Strong performances from those 2, and a lion's share of the points between them.
Yeah, sure. They definitely picked up a lot of points together, and you know, we'll be going forward for their groups, for their regions, to see how far they can go in playoffs. Because now everything is going to change tomorrow. Everybody is getting on the bus. We're heading towards Jönköping, which is about 4 hours. You know, everybody gets to bond. You know, talk and try and steal the strategies away from the backpacks here and there. But also, we're changing to best of 3s.
Wow. What else are we changing to? a quick break before we are back here on this stream with the draw. Who will be playing who will be done out live here. Now, Latin America, I'm sorry, with your successes, there's a high chance you'll be meeting each other. You've got to be. You've just been too good. We'll find out who meets who after a very quick break. Please do not go anywhere. See you in a second.